up on global business, China's main gauge of inflation, the Consumer Price Index, edged down in October, driven by falling food prices. The CIIE becomes prime destination for new product launches as global consumer brands look to tap into China's huge growth potential. The annual conference of the Financial Street Forum 2023 is currently taking place in Beijing with a focus on governance reform. Hello and welcome to this edition of Global Business on CGTN. I'm Guan Xing in Beijing. China's main gauge of inflation, the Consumer Price Index, cooled down in October, and the Factory Gate Producer Price Index saw a further decline. Official data released Thursday showed the CPI edged down 0.2% in October compared to a year ago. The slight dip was attributed to food prices, notably the price of pork. Oversupply and weak demand saw pork prices fall 30% last month. The core CPI, which excludes food and fuel prices, was up by 0.6%. The Producer Price Index fell 2.6% year-on-year in October, affected by fluctuations in international crude oil and metal prices. Amidst the backdrop of sluggish global economic recovery, China is grappling with a decline in foreign demand, prompting the need to enhance domestic consumption as a driver of growth. As fourth quarter progresses, consumption is anticipated to gain momentum, fueled by the implementation of various policies aimed at stimulating spending. The Ministry of Commerce has identified the facilitation of consumption in key areas as the next crucial step in this endeavor.
Efforts will be focused on promoting the use of new energy vehicles in rural areas to stimulate car consumption. Additionally, there will be a push to spur consumption of home appliances, with a particular emphasis on green, smart, and senior-friendly products. Furthermore, the ministry will also strive to facilitate the high-quality development of the dining industry to cater to people's upgraded needs towards life.
We are into the fifth day of this year's CIIE. During the three-day trade and investment matchmaking meeting, nearly 4,000 exhibitors participated in a meeting with 416 cooperation intentions reached, with an intended turnover of around $18.1 billion. So far, the expo has seen more than 100 promotional events held, as well as cooperation agreements signed. While the world is facing some downward pressure on economic growth, consumer brands at the CIIE are optimistic about the growth potential in the China market, choosing the country as a major destination to launch their new products. Zhang Shixuan has more.
The colorful bricks have once again been under the spotlight at the expo this year, where more new possibilities have been figured out with more typical Chinese styles. The LEGO Group debuted 4 new toy sets at its booth, where people can find familiar characters from the Chinese famous literature Journey to the West, the Chinese zodiac, and symbols of good fortune like the dragon, among others.
One of our products is a Ha Lake City shopping mall. Actually, there's a lot of elements in this model. There's a noodle shop and also the bubble tea. These are also very Chinese, culture. And we want to bring these elements to the global portfolio, which we can have our Chinese culture to influence more, international consumers.
LEGO has been launching new products featuring Chinese elements at CIIE for 6 years now. So drawing on Chinese culture and traditions for its modern toys isn't just a one-off. It's turning to real business, not just in China, but also worldwide.
Actually, they are more excited than we expected. For example, like, Monkey King actually sold very well in US market. Actually, this is a tailor-made for China product line, and we launched like 4 years ago. And also these a Chinese element, actually bubble tea is also very popular in the Europe markets. So they also very love this kind of elements that they see it and then can feel it and they can view it.
As the only series developed from a single country's culture and stories, the series is to celebrate its 5th anniversary next year. The company also held a seminar at its booth, where the design master of the group and the company's first designer from the Chinese mainland shared the details about the series.
Since China announced the goal of reaching carbon emissions peak by 2030 and carbon neutrality by 2060, green development has been among the top priorities for consumer goods brands. So this year, clothing, cosmetics, and sporting brands are all showing off their latest eco-friendly initiatives.
Japanese sporting brand Asics made a China debut of a pair of running shoes at the expo, whose shoe midsoles use an eco-friendly material that helps reduce the carbon footprint of the whole production process.
We started the local production from 2020. Yeah, so therefore, that means the China-specific, Chinese market-specific products, and also Chinese market-specific service. Basketball, volleyball, tennis, and table tennis, and badminton. By introducing our specific technology and our specific material, we produce high functionality product for Chinese consumer.
Japanese cosmetics group Shiseido is making the first appearance of its latest move in sustainable development outside Japan. A new technology take helps make the bottle of one of its iconic products 100% recyclable.
After being exhibited in the CIIE, we will plan to launch this refill services at the Shiseido counter at the Pudong Yaohan department store in Shanghai. Of course, we are recognized a little bit the change the market dynamics in short term, but we are strongly believe that China market is strong to further grow. We have determined to invest with confidence to China markets.
And Canadian apparel maker Canada Goose was also among the many brands showcasing their iconic products at this year's event.
We've been in China for 5 years and we've opened close to 30 stores now. China as a percentage of our sales has become a material part of our sales. Last quarter, China grew 60% over the last year, quarter on quarter. So I think it's very important for international brands to attend conferences like that and to be a part of the ecosystem here in China.
In June, the company announced its collaboration with the Sanjiangyuan National Park in Qinghai Province to work on preserving ecological and biological diversity, which is its first ever corporate social responsibility program outside North America. Zhang Shixuan, ICS, with GTN, Shanghai.
South Korean companies are also seeking opportunities for cooperation at China's Global Import Expo. And for more details on this, let's cross to our correspondent Jack Barden in Seoul. Hi there, Jack. Good to see you. Tell us about CIIE's role in promoting bilateral consumption between China and South Korea.
Well, the expo has always been seen as a good way of boosting exports here in South Korea, and the relationship is, of course, huge. China is South Korea's biggest market, but for China as well, South Korea is its second largest market in the world. Last year, combined trade was around $362 billion. So this is a big relationship, but for South Korea, there's been headwinds this year. For the first time in more than 3 decades, it started running a deficit with China, and so it's more than important in the eyes of South Korean businesses this year to get business booming again in China. It's really seen as an imperative. And there was some good news last month. The trade figures jumped for the first time for South Korea globally in 13 months. There was still a slowdown in China, but we could say a slowdown in the slowdown, and the analysts here are saying that soon that should turn around into recovery. So we're seeing a really big push at the expo this year. There are big associations like the Korea International Trade Association, the Korea Small to Medium Enterprises and Startup Agency, and on top of that, big conglomerates like Lotte Tour Agency and LG Electronics, of course, the backbone of white goods here, like fridges, televisions, washing machines, all the basic goods that South Korea would really like to be exporting to China in bigger numbers. So altogether, more than 220 South Korean firms have signed up for the expo, making their presence felt there, trying to drum up more business. And of course, again, more important than ever in their eyes this year with the slowdown they've seen, but also the geopolitical problems all around the world, including here on the Korean Peninsula, of course, where we've seen big tensions over the past few years. So always a place to boost the sale of South Korean goods and to make a bigger presence in China. But I think this year is really being seen as far more important than ever to really get out there and let South Korea's presence in China be felt through the expo.
Thank you very much for sharing with us. And there is Jack Barton for us in Seoul. And Chinese Vice Premier He Lifeng has begun his visit to the United States, responding to an invitation from Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen. The visit aligns with the consensus reached during the meeting between the two heads of state, Xi Jinping and Joe Biden, in Bali last year. Bilateral talks are expected to center on macroeconomic policies and economic and trade dialogues. The visit aims to further strengthen economic cooperation between the two countries and address key economic and trade issues. In the meantime, the ongoing Import Expo is providing an open platform for bilateral cooperation. Take a listen.
U.S. companies are casting a vote of confidence in the China market at this year's CIIE. A slew of American firm delegations has flocked to the expo. With this year's annual Import Expo has seen a remarkable turnout, with over 200 U.S. exhibitors representing diverse sectors such as semiconductors, medical devices, new energy vehicles, cosmetics, and more. But this also marks the most significant U.S. presence in the history of the CIIE.
Lilly's been around for over 147 years with that mission around making life better for people globally all over the world. Today we have over 20 local partners, and we try to bring all of our resources, our people, our expertise, our experience to the local biotechs to enable them to accelerate their innovation. Our goal is simultaneous drug development, and China's role in that is tremendous.
It's not just the market size that attracts U.S. companies. The market's long-term growth opportunities also make it a magnet for the top U.S. firms.
We will continue to invest as we have done to date. To date, we've invested about 1.8 billion RMB in research, manufacturing, facilities, and training. And our plan is to continue with those types of investments. The China market is extremely important. We believe that we have the opportunity to bring the best minimally invasive care to the Chinese population. And so with our innovation and our work to expand access to the technology, we think we can have an impact.
The U.S. and China have always enjoyed a substantial trading relationship. Last year, the bilateral trade volume hit a record high of nearly $700 billion. At this year's CIIE, the U.S. participants have expressed a strong willingness to foster partnerships.
Yeah, well, I think we've been establishing these relationships for a number of years, which might have even preceded having the China International Import Expo. So I think the opportunities continue to grow. We know that we've been very successful when we've had these interchanges on both continents.
The level of U.S. participation indicates the Chinese market is still irreplaceable, and the CIIE will help the two countries to achieve win-win cooperation. Yu Bokun, CGTN.
Major airlines are preparing to increase the number of weekly passenger flights between China and the U.S. to 70 by the end of 2023 to 24 winter season from the current 48 flights. Carriers include Air China, China Eastern Airlines, United Airlines, and American Airlines are among those increasing flight numbers. The post-COVID rebound in international flight numbers, especially between China and the U.S., indicates the growing market optimism. Ticket prices have also been steadily decreasing, offering passengers more affordable travel options. We're now heading for a short break, still to come on the program. The annual conference of the Financial Street Forum in 2023 is currently taking place in Beijing, emphasizing governance reforms.
Decode China's financial trends.
Looking forward, see how finance empowers the real economy and champions sustainable growth.
Looking abroad, explore how it fuels the Belt and Road and Yuan's international rise.
Stepping up towards digital transformation and high-quality development.
Join us at the 2023 Financial Street Forum, where China's financial heart beats stronger.
The annual conference of the Financial Street Forum 2023 is underway in Beijing. China's top financial officials, including the governor of the PBOC, delivered speeches on the opening day on Wednesday. More than 300 guests from over 300 countries and regions will engage in in-depth discussions on topics relating to this year's themes of financial opening up and cooperation. Apart from its main venue in Beijing, the forum has also set up overseas sub-forums in Dubai, Singapore, and Hong Kong. And the main focus of the forum this year is digital finance, which is increasingly attracting global attention. Our Xu has a story.
Fintech, many people don't realize how it has completely changed our lives. Entering the highly digital 3.0 era, we're using more intelligent financial tools like financial regtech, big data credit, and digital currencies. Senior officials and experts said that digitalization of finance has had a profound impact on people's lives and will be increasingly important for the global economy.
Fintech is the use of financial innovation means to provide efficient services for entrepreneurship of financial forms, products, and services. At present, the intelligent, digital, and green transformation of the financial industry is accelerating, and the digital economy is booming. From network finance, mobile finance to digital finance, science and technology are changing the direction of financial development and global cooperation and injecting strong vitality.
During the forum, there is also a significant focus on financial talents. One notable institution is Shanghai Advanced Institute of Finance, which has been launched several projects to create an open, collaborative ecosystem for financial talents.
在数字金融方面呢，我认为的话，其实
Talent development is a key aspect of fintech development. China's capital market has entered a new stage of high-quality digital transformation. We need more talents for further innovation and future sustainable development. And I've seen many policies from the government to attract them, and we can expect more.
A development report released today at the forum said that in 2022, the strategic emerging industry loans and innovation loans of the regional headquarters commercial banks increased significantly, and the growth rate of specialized new enterprise loans exceeded 80%. Xu Yi, CGTN, Beijing.
And now for more on fintech development, let's bring in Chu Qiang, Research Fellow of Beijing Foreign Studies University. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Chu. So could you help us understand what policies have been introduced this year to strengthen financial support for technology innovation?
Well, we always have lots of packages for technology innovation. In the past several years, I think the government has already stipulated many policies to support the Zhuangjingtexin companies. What does that mean is the company who has been, it's more like an incubator project to support the company's tax savvy and also have some strong suit in specialized areas. And a further version of that is what we call little giant companies. We have a full package of financial support to support those companies to grow up and then get listed in the growth board. And also, besides this stimulus package, financial sector also give them some matching support if you can get the title like the little giant companies. So the government and all the banking systems will provide you a lot of the support in the borrowing or lending, with a certain size. And they have a little they have a little better requirement on the collaterals because, the tax-savvy companies sometimes are rich for the IPR, intellectual properties, but they are short of, collateral such as housing, such as equipment. So this kind of policy packages are specialized for them.
Well, the need for fintech development was stressed at the Central Financial Work Conference, which just concluded a while ago. What impact could this have on development of the sector?
Well, I think fintech and the digital economy has actually been growing very fast in the current, status, and especially has been underlined under the current financial work conferences. central government really paid a great attention to it because we've been seeing lots of fintech is actually been happening and changing our life. For example, digital currencies. Probably you know that the currency is very convenient, but also generate a lot of problems. For example, if you use paper notes, it's going to be money embezzlement, corruptions, and also money laundering has been happening. But with the digital currencies, suddenly the traditional issues can be, improved. For example, if you want just to spare some money to help natural disaster hidden areas, but you're afraid to know where the money goes, can they help the really targeted group of people? So with digital currency, everything solved, and also we've been using the big data as we mentioned by the reporters, and also using the AI, and those are being changing the whole scenario in the financial sector of China.
And can you give us some specific examples of how technology development supports the innovation and the growth of the capital market?
For example, in China we have the A-share market. A-share market is actually the number 2 biggest market, stock market in the whole world. Well, in the past, I think regulation could be really a problem. We have hundreds of millions of investors in this market, and institutional investors and individual investors. While somebody are doing evil things, for example, like inside trading or the rat trading, it's very hard at mapping them out because there are millions and billions of trade going on every minute. So what we do, and later I think the stock exchange and the regulators find out we have big data and help when to trace them. But big data is not enough because there are too many big data out there. And then we have AI, and AI can really help us trace every transaction and trading, and map out a trail to link to the final rat, and then we can rat them out. So eventually we can overcome a lot of inside trading issues, and currently we've been reporting many of this. And also we're talking about blockchain. When in the USA, in the Silicon Valley, the S&P has been sentenced a whole lifetime because it uses a blockchain for the fraud. But also in China, blockchain has been helping the regulators identify every trader, every saver, every depositors to protect their credit, protect their money, and to trace all kinds of potential crime. So I think the blockchain actually helped us to lock down the identity and the legitimacy of all the transactions and your customer protections. So you see, these are all changes are happening every day, letting alone the digital payment. These are already old stories. And further things that are going to happen in the cross-border trading, cross-border clearing and transactions. You're going to see more happening.
Very exciting developments. Thank you very much for sharing with us. That's Chu Qiang, Research Fellow of Beijing Foreign Studies University. And earlier on the sidelines of the Financial Street Forum, my colleague Lily Li had the opportunity to interview Andrew Duplessis, CEO of Standard Advisory China Limited. Standard Bank Group, known as the largest bank in Africa by assets, was also a topic of discussion during the interview, which also focused on Duplessis' insights on China-Africa trade and investment.
Standard Bank Group facilitates large amount of trade in between China and Africa. Which sectors do you think will be the next growth driver in China-Africa trade and investment?
Yes. So traditionally, the largest sector for us has been energy and infrastructure. More recently, the mining and metal sector has overtaken that in investment. We do believe, however, that the continued investment in energy and transition energy, that energy and infrastructure will be back. Mining and metals will remain high. But for us, it's also quite important that the investment in industry or manufacturing capability or capacity continues. So I think in industry and industrialization and beneficiation of African commodities, etc., will be rising as well.
Mm-hmm. And when we talk of innovation in cooperation, we often speak of digitalization.
Yes.
We expect digitalization in finance, in banking would be able to enable more functions, to create higher values.
Yes.
What are some of the major breakthroughs that Standard Bank has made?
So we've been working with ICBC, as you know, for 15 years to create innovative products. We've got something called Sino-Africa Connect or Global Pay. And this allows Chinese corporates to make payments in Africa from China. So really a centralized treasury system. So there's various other products that we've also worked on, cross-border payments, renminbi, infrastructure, etc., etc.
The IMF predicts that from 2024, Africa will achieve an annual growth rate of around 4.2%. That is significantly higher than the predicted global average. How do you plan to harness on this phenomenal potential in your partnership with China's financial institutions?
Chinese capital is quite important for growth, in Africa. And the demand is quite large. A lot of countries in Africa with China as a sovereign and as a government, but also with many of its institutions, and including its financial institutions. So we've got strong relations, and through continued exchange of views, we will continue to hopefully attract more of that. We've been operating on the continent for 164 years, so our understanding of the opportunities and the risks on the continent, I think, gives us an advantage above, probably anybody else. And so therefore we're quite a good counterparty or a good partner to work with for Chinese financial institutions, and indeed it is quite strong at the moment, and we will continue to cultivate that and the dialogue that warm relationships actually brings, so that we respond to opportunities in a timeliest fashion.
And that will do it for this edition of Global Business on CGTN. I'm Guanxin in Beijing. Before we go, we bring you some snapshots of the 6th China International Import Expo's latest highlights. Take a look.